So here's the thing, 90% of new guitarists fail. In fact, it's one of the guitar industry's biggest problems that 9 out of 10 of your new customers simply don't come back to buy your product. But they shouldn't. And I've been playing guitar for 20 years. I have seen many people try to learn guitar. I've seen some people do it successfully. And I think I've come to a reasonably good explanation for one of the main reasons why people fail and how potentially you can avoid being one of those 10 people, or rather one of those 9 out of 10 people who fail. I'm going to talk about that, and that's what this video is going to be about. So hi everyone, welcome back to the Ministry of Guitar. I'm Utkarsh Mohan, coming to you from Singapore. As always, if you like what I'm doing, please do like, subscribe and share. It really helps. And if you want to go beyond the world of guitars, there's always my podcast. Now, I've been giving this a lot of thought, right? And this topic came back to my mind just yesterday because I met somebody who represents Singapore in bodybuilding. And he was looking at my guitar collection and he was saying, oh my God, I've always wanted to play guitar. I've tried learning guitar multiple times and I couldn't. I didn't have the discipline. And I'm looking at this guy who's like a professional bodybuilder who is on some sort of crazy diet, some sort of crazy exercise regimen. And he's saying he doesn't have the discipline to learn guitar. And I'm like, no, I don't think that's quite right. I think there's something else going on. So I think the main reason that 9 out of 10 people fail in learning guitar is just the approach. And sometimes you just need the right approach. Those first critical days, those first critical months are everything. And if you're directed in the wrong direction, it can literally stop you from what can be a very fulfilling hobby. I'm going to use an analogy. So the guitar is not the first instrument I tried to learn. The first instrument I tried to learn was the piano, or rather the keyboard, because I had seen a Casio synthesizer when I was about 8 or 9 years old and I really wanted one. My parents got me a toy one. I tried to learn. I even got a teacher. Here's what happened, and a lot of you may recognize this, right? What happened is the teacher got into teaching you the basics. So first he wanted me to learn a scale. And in India, we learn the major scale, but we call it sa re ga ma pa dha ni sa. So he was like, okay, you got to learn how to play sa re ga ma pa dha ni sa, which is the major scale. He was just asking me to play that constantly. Then maybe we went to minor after that. Maybe we did that. It was just one exercise after another. The spiel to me was that, hey, it's difficult and boring in the beginning, but it's worth it because once you learn, then it's totally worth it. And I think that is the problem. By the way, I didn't end up learning keyboard. I would completely neglect keyboard until maybe 10-15 years later when I learned guitar, and then I wanted to expand my palette, so I started relearning keyboard and piano myself. And I think the mistake that a lot of people make is it doesn't have to be boring. It doesn't necessarily have to be very difficult in the beginning. Now, I know that this is sounding counterintuitive, but bear with me. When it comes to most tasks in life or most difficult things to do, generally you need to have two things to be true. And this is not just for guitar, this is for most things. This could even be a project at work or a school project or whatever else you can think of. You need to have a well-defined goal, and you need to be passionate about that goal. Now, in the case of my guitar teacher, I have a well-defined goal I have to learn, or rather my music teacher, I had to learn. It's a well-defined goal. No problem there. But am I passionate? Am I passionate about just playing this? That's not a song. It's running up and down the scale. It makes no sense to me. It's something to be passionate about. I don't have that much motivation. Yes, I have motivation to learn guitar, which is why some people still power through. But if all you're doing is exercises or trying to figure out how to strum an A chord or a D chord or an E chord or whatever, which by the way is very difficult to do in the beginning, how will you be motivated? The thing I think most people are missing, and of a lot of self-taught guitarists that I've spoken to who ended up actually learning, I found this commonality. The goals that they define are exciting goals. And why are they exciting goals? Because they are songs that they want to learn how to play, or rather they want to actually feel like they're making music right from the get-go. It's that concept of instant gratification. And in my particular case, I think the best thing that someone did to me is when I got my first acoustic guitar, uh, you know, there's a song a lot of us know. It's one of the most famous songs out there. You probably know this song. You know the song, right? It's, of course, everyone knows, Smoke on the Water. So the thing is, uh, somebody said, I was like, wow, that sounds great. He's like, yeah, it's very easy to play. You can play it on the first day. I was like, no, not a chance. And it turns out you can play it on the first day. It's just you don't play it on G, you play it on E. So you do it on the bottom E string. I mean, it's not exactly the same thing. You're playing a note instead of playing a chord, and it's on E rather than being on the scale of G major or whatever. But still, it is the song. It is recognizable. The moment you play that, and remember, the most powerful thing for you going from being a non-musician, a non-instrumentalist to being an instrumentalist is you can hear yourself play what sounds like a piece of music. And however basic this is, it is a piece of music. So this was such an easy entry point because, again, it's well defined. It's a song. I can play it. People can hear it. I can hear it. And it's very, very low barrier to entry. Of course, I may have played it with my finger. I don't remember. And initially, maybe I couldn't press it properly. Maybe I did. Getting the timing right takes a long time and all of that. But that was it. And then slowly but surely, once you have that motivation, hey, I can play one song. It's day one, but I can play a song. All right? It's almost like, and this will link to a second point I'm going to make, but I guess I'll make it now. The moment you can play music, and the moment you can play music with other people, the motivation level that you have, remember, the goal is well defined, but the motivation that you have is dramatic. And this, again, I have to use the song as an example because if you've seen the movie School of Rock, I think there's a moment where I think somebody starts playing this. I think they start with the drummer, then it goes to the bassist playing the G chord, and then the guitarist comes in. And there's a magical moment there when you're playing with a few people. So in this particular case as well, even though you might just be playing this, all you need is someone behind you, just really not even using the left hand, and then you basically have something that sounds like the song, right? And then it's two people playing together, creating music together. So what I'm saying is, start with songs. It doesn't matter if it's a poorer version of the song, if it's a simplified version of the song. Start with a song that you want to hear yourself play, right? I'm not saying start off with the Sweet Child of Mine intro and try to screw yourself up. Start with something very simple. I started here, then I went to... By the way, this took so long to learn. This was the second thing I tried to learn. It was slightly more complicated because it was on two strings. It was a little difficult to get the timings right and everything. But it was a song. It was a well-defined objective, which I could still achieve. So here's the thing, folks. If you think you're struggling, just think of a song that you want to play. Just ask anyone you know to just simplify it for you. Any song can be really simplified to a single string and a few notes, right? I'm trying to think of some other riff. I can't think of anything right now. You know what I mean, right? Anything. It can sound ostensibly like a song. Maybe you want to play Yellow by Coldplay or something by Ed Sheeran. It doesn't matter. Just play one string, one note, start there. Even Slash started on a one-string guitar, if I remember correctly. And that's all you need. The moment you're playing an entire, you have an entire reservoir of multiple songs that you can play on one string, then you go beyond strings, then you try and get into chords, and then you can get into all the strumming and all of that. But just start off by playing. Just get past that barrier where, oh my God, I've been at it for a few months. I can't play a proper song. I can't play anything. You have to just get past it. And I bet your chances will improve. So I really hope that in case somebody who's watching this is struggling or they believe that they can't play guitar or it requires too much discipline, it doesn't really. It just requires you to have an objective that you are passionate about. Not the idea of playing guitar, but maybe just literally a song that you can learn and you can immediately hear yourself be a musician. All right, folks, I hope this was helpful and I'll see you next time.